Hello, welcome to another weekly coaching call. Jay Robbins here, 23-year producing mortgage loan originator. And listen, we talk a lot about online marketing and internet leads and different ways of approaching said leads. But today we're going to switch it up a little bit because I understand, having been doing this for over 2 decades now, originating mortgage loans, is that it's important to have several pillars of marketing coming in at one time. So internet marketing, I believe, in this environment is so important, right? Because it's essentially predictable, right? As long as the ads are right, the language is right, the follow-up is right, all stuff that we do here at Boom Digital for you, then you can have a predictable business. At that point, it's just a matter of what your ad spend is. But another really, really important part of our business as mortgage professionals is getting referrals from realtors. So today I'm going to walk you through step by step where to find realtors, how to get to the right ones, what to say when they pick up the phone, what to say to when you sit down for an appointment, and then what the next step is. So I'm going to kind of breeze by this. It's simplicity. Sometimes we get way too technical, we overthink things, but it's just really important that we focus on this call and getting realtor referral business. The key word is simplicity. Okay, so let's begin. So first thing is, where are realtors, right? And how do we find the good ones? Well, one of the things that's been successful for me for many years is going to Zillow or Realtor.com and looking at the amount of reviews that a realtor has. So I'll just walk you through Zillow because that's what I'm most familiar with. So what I used to do is I would go to Zillow, I would type in a zip code, and then hundreds of realtors will come up. I mean, granted, depending on where you are in the country, maybe those numbers are higher or lower. But when I was doing it, it was in South Florida. And so I type in a zip code in, let's say, Palm Beach County, West Palm Beach, and hundreds of realtors would come up. But I don't want to call hundreds of realtors. I don't mind calling hundreds of realtors over a period of time, but I don't want to call realtors who have no profile, efficient profile on Zillow. They don't have any reviews. They're not showing what deals have closed or listings. And so the odds is that they're part-timers. And there's something to be said for rookie realtors or part-timers because they need a mortgage professional in their corner, but they also are the most high maintenance because they're just not in the mix, versus someone who's experienced. They know that when they find a mortgage professional they trust, they stay out of the mortgage talk. They don't need to know, they don't need to have knowledge about mortgage stuff. That's our job. So what we want to get to is finding a realtor who is going to send us business, and they trust that we know what we're doing, and they're going to back out of it. Okay, so zip code and Zillow, hundreds of realtors pop up, and then filter the ratings or reviews as most to lowest. Now, when you're looking at a realtor that's got 400 or 500 reviews, the odds are very high they have a whole team, and the odds are very high that they are already working with a mortgage professional or a mortgage company. Maybe it's like a whole thing. And those are whales. Not saying that you can't land one that could send you 1 or 2 closings a month, right? If you have one realtor that's sending you 4 or 5 leads a month, that's resulting in 2 closings a month and 25 to 30 closings a year from one realtor, that's considered a whale. Unlikely. The odds are not high, but it's possible. And so where you should be focusing is finding realtors that have reviews of at least 7 or 8, going up to about 20. Those are realtors who in my experience, are more open to speaking to a cold call from a loan officer. So you get the list, you've got hundreds of realtors, 100, whatever it is, and they literally have their telephone number there. And what I encourage you to do is when you find these realtors that have between 8 and 20 reviews, read their bio description, find out a little bit about them before you call them. Okay. So now you've got your list and hundreds of realtors. How long is it going to take you? By the way, that's one zip code. So then if you parlay it into several zip codes, the numbers become much greater. And I'm just giving you one way to get in touch with realtors. And by the way, these are realtors you don't know. So list, you've got the review, you see they have 8 to 20 reviews, you call them and you say, hey, and we'll get a script out for those who want it. As a matter of fact, maybe we'll just post like a PDF link below this video of like the basic script. But essentially you're calling a realtor and it goes something like this. Hey, Miss Realtor, want to let you know that I found you on Zillow and I was impressed by what the reviews say about you. And the reason for my call is I want to see if you're open to having a conversation of how I might be able to help you grow your business. Do you have a minute? Now, there's technique in that, because when I'm saying, do you have a minute, I'm asking permission for their time. Some telemarketers will call and they'll just go right in their presentation, which is inconsiderate. And they'll say, well, who are you? And you'll say, well, I'm Jay Robbins with XYZ Mortgage Company. And I acknowledge that the odds are you probably have a loan officer or more than one that you refer business to. And this call isn't about asking you for mortgage business. This call is seeing if we can work together. And by that, I mean, is there something happening in your business where I can help fill the gap and add value? And if I can add value, the hope is that you'll see the value and we can have a reciprocating relationship. Does that make sense? Sure, it makes sense. Well, great. So what I'd like to do then, with your permission, because it's like anything else, if someone calls you and says, hey, Miss Realtor, I want to buy a house, take me shopping, the odds are you're going to say, Miss Realtor, well, do you have a pre-approval? What do you want to shop for? Do you want to sing? And you start asking questions. And I would like to do the same with you. So what we can do is we need to do a Zoom call, because I think there's a lot to be said for looking at each other's eyes and feeling each other's energy. Or let's maybe meet for a cup of coffee. I'd like to treat you to a cup of coffee so we can kind of get an idea. How do you feel about that? And you can see I'm ending what I'm saying with questions to give them the opportunity to respond. And some realtors are going to say, no, I'm not interested, click. And some are going to say, oh, I have 15 loan officers, that's fine. The key is playing the numbers. And then when someone shows any level of interest, you are efficient in the conversation. So the list on Zillow, 8 to 20 reviews, you cold call and you say, hey, I like your reviews. I'm wondering if you're open to having a conversation. I'm a mortgage lender, I'm a mortgage broker, but I more want to see where I can fill the gap to give you value and help you grow your business. And then if they're open to that, sure, let's set up a Zoom call or set up a coffee meeting. And then what you want to do is you want to send an email, what I call a credibility email, like an email that you send off showing your credentials. How many years have you been in business? What is your value add normally? What is your website? What is it a little bit about you? And then you send that off. Okay, now fast forward, now we're having our meeting, whether it's Zoom or it's face-to-face. And one of the things I've discovered over the years is that it's not polite to sit down and jump right into business, because some people might not want that. And if they do want that, then they'll let you know. But this is networking, because keep in mind, this isn't about, or I will share with you, this isn't about getting every realtor you can to send you business. This is about seeing what realtors are open to working with you, but then you determining if you like them, because they're going to be calling you, right? And you're going to be calling them, and you don't just want to be desperate just to get business. And if you understand what abundance is, that we can produce that, then you can also know and acknowledge that you can have, and what you want is 10 to 20 realtors sending you leads every month, and you like them. Not only they like you, but you like them. So, and that can be done if you know what to say and how to say it. So now we're sitting down face to face. We're not jumping into business. So how do you start the conversation? This is a great acronym I've heard along the way. FORD, FORD. And FORD are topics of conversation. So F stands for family. Tell me about your family. You know, you have kids, and where your parents, and so F is family. Just open up a conversation. So tell me about you. Tell me about, where are you from? O stands for occupation. How did you get into the real estate business? What inspired you to get into this business that creates so much grief for all of us? You don't want to say that, but you get the gist. F is family, O is occupation, R is recreation. What do you like to do for fun? Right? These are all conversation starters to break the ice. What do you like to do for fun? And when they say something, engage. Right? I'm an athlete, or I like music. Oh, what sort of music? So you're just having a regular conversation. What you're doing is you're building rapport. And then D is desires. What are your desires in life? What do you want to do with your life? I mean, okay, let's say you make $500,000 a year or $1 million a year being a real estate professional. What do you want to do with the money? Do you want to travel? Do you want to start a family? Do you want to, what are those desires? So FORD, family, occupation, recreation, desire. These are conversation starters. And then once you start, what starts to parlay to business, you start asking questions. And two questions that I've always liked is one, the mortgage person that you're working with right now, if they are, because maybe they're not, but if they are, how would you rate them on a scale of 1 to 10? And why not a 10? Because if it was a 10, they wouldn't be talking to you, very likely. And then they're going to tell you, and this is sales. When you ask questions, they get the answer. They're telling you how to sell them, what they need. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your current relationship, and why not a 10? And then the follow-up question is, so if you were a loan officer for a day, what would, or if you could switch everything to have the perfect loan officer partner, what does that look like for you? Right? It's kind of the same question, but just asking a different way to maybe inspire some extra thought. And now they're telling you, right? And so ultimately you could download them all over the internet. There's questionnaires where you're just kind of asking different questions to the realtor so they can tell you what's important to them about not only what they need in their business to build their business, but what was missing from their previous relationship, or what is missing from their previous relationships with loan officer. And now, like, can you fulfill that? Can you satisfy that gap that they're requesting? And so that's the conversation. Just like taking a mortgage app, you're asking questions. You're not closing on a loan when you're doing an application or a pre-qual. You're asking questions to see which direction to take. And so you can see, if you call all these realtors and they're open to a conversation of how you can add value. Remember, this isn't about them sending you mortgage business. This is about how you can add value to what they're doing. And then the law of reciprocation, the expectation is that they will refer you business because of the relationship. We got all the realtors with the reviews. We start the conversation. Hey, are you open? Because I want to see where I can add value. Let's talk. You sit face to face. Okay, FORD, family, occupation, recreation, desire. Asking what's important to you in a loan officer. What would you like to see happen? And then you can kind of end it with light talk to continue to establish the rapport. So now you've had your conversation. And what I used to say is, okay, you've given me some information. I like to process information to really come up with a detailed game plan. So I'd like to do a follow-up meeting with you, follow-up Zoom or follow-up coffee meeting, whatever it is. Is that okay with you? Yes. Then I take the information back, you take the information back, and you sit down and you figure out, based on everything you've heard and what the concerns are, what can you do to add value? And then you go do a follow-up. And then you say, okay, I've thought about it. This is where I can help you. This is where I can support you. And then you lay it out. And then after that, it's just having integrity and doing what you say you're going to do. And that's how you establish a realtor referral partner. And what happens is, remember, all you need is one opportunity. And it's also realistic to say after the presentation, to really, really see how we're going to be able to work together, I would like for you to send me your next 3 or 4 mortgage leads for folks that you're working with. 3 or 4, not one. Hey, just give me a shot. No, it's send me 3 or 4. And that way you'll really be able to see how I operate and what I do. And if you do this over and over again, the key is you want to have a list of 40 strong realtors. And of the 40, you want 25 sending you business. Of the 25, 6 or 7 is sending you 1 deal a month. That's ideal. Another 6 or 7 is sending you 1 deal every other month or every 3 months. And then the other 6 or 7 are going to maybe send you a couple of deals a year. And by the way, we have done a video on time blocking, and one of those things is avoid distractions. And so now the phone goes on airplane mode, and I made the mistake because, well, there's lots of reasons why we make mistakes. I'm not going to get into the reasons, but that's another really cool tip, is if you do something that is not in alignment, the explanation is irrelevant, because they're not asking for an explanation. They just want to know that you're acknowledging what you did and apologize and ask for forgiveness. That's it. And if they want to know, they'll ask for more. That goes in all areas of life when you're apologizing. Never apologize with an explanation, because it then starts to sound like BS. Just acknowledge what you did. So I apologize for the distraction. So when connecting with realtors, you want to have 25 ongoing that you're essentially calling every week to check in, knowing that 5 or 6 are going to fall off. So you always want to have 5 or 6 new ones coming in. So you always want to be calling new realtors all the time, right? And it's not about spending a lot of your time calling realtors. It's about allocating time for realtor calls. And for me, it's on Mondays. And you can imagine how long it's going to take you to get through hundreds of realtors. So just a brief recap: Zillow, hundreds of realtors in your zip code, filter it to the realtors that had the most reviews, and focus your attention on the ones that are 8 to 20. Cold call with an opening script, letting them know that you have the ability to help them grow their business. And the way to determine that is to have a Zoom or a coffee meeting. At the Zoom or coffee meeting, use the FORD acronym to start the conversation. Ask questions of their experience in the past, what they would like to see. Leave the meeting, come up with a detailed game plan for that particular realtor. You'll start to see that the game plan is very similar for all realtors. You still want to customize it to that realtor. You do a follow-up. You ask for their next 3 or 4 mortgage opportunities, and then you're off and running. And you can imagine, if you do this over and over and over again as part of your weekly schedule, you'll then have a group of realtors that are going to be consistently referring you business, or you're adding to the group of realtors that'll be consistently sending you business. So with that being said, I hope this has been valuable for you. Thank you for your patience. And until our next coaching call, this is Jay Robbins signing off for now.